Hello, Chair. Can you hear me?
Oui,
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay, perfect. I can hear you. Thank you.
allons-y.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I'm speaking on behalf of Electronic Information for Libraries. First, we would like to express our appreciation to the Secretariat for the hard work in compiling the report that provides an excellent summary of the 4 events held last year. In the takeaway considerations, we welcome the recognition of cultural heritage as an invaluable and vulnerable common good. At all the events, a high degree of consensus was expressed for work on preservation of cultural heritage. Experts, delegates, and observers alike recognize the threat posed by natural disasters, fire, and floods to the cultural heritage of many member states, particularly island nations affected by climate change. Further, they agreed that the copyright laws in many countries, especially in the developing world, do not have adequate exceptions for digital preservation or cross-border uses. Chair, the COVID-19 pandemic illustrates the preservation problem. Right now, librarians are working to identify and preserve information on COVID, such as research data, scientific articles, public health videos, social media, and news reports. These curated COVID-19 collections are vital for future scholarship and science in order to study and draw lessons from the public health, economic and cultural impact of the biggest global health crisis of our times. However, if the works are not professionally preserved, they won't exist or they won't be findable. And countries without clear preservation rights will be left behind, with gaps in the national record or works preserved held in institutions in other countries with better laws. Licensing is not a solution for preservation, and I'm afraid that the best legal skills in the world won't fix a bad copyright law. So SCCR should adopt a work plan, including text-based work on a preservation instrument in line with the 2012 mandate. And while the work of the committee is curtailed due to the pandemic, it shouldn't come to a stop during this time. So we suggest a practical interim approach that the Secretariat should retain its expert, Professor Kenneth Cruz, to prepare a model provision on preservation, as mentioned by my colleague from ICA. And this could easily be ready by the next SCCR, at which point it would provide countries with helpful guidelines on this important topic. And then finally, until the pandemic is clearly in the rear view mirror, we would also suggest that the committee examine the impact on access to copyright protected content as a result of the pandemic. Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You talked about the importance of preserving heritage, and you also talked about the lack of protection in this context. You also made a number of proposals for an interim approach, one of a practical nature. You are also proposing that WIPO tries to assess the impact of COVID-19 in the current context.